I would like to call to order the regular board meeting for the West Mifflin Area School District, meeting on Thursday, April 22nd, 2021. It's being held at the West Mifflin Area Middle School, 81 Commonwealth Avenue, West Mifflin, PA, 15122. Meeting to begin at 7 p.m. Opening exercises, pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Here. Alexandra. Here. Bennett.
Here.
Engler.
Here.
Stelnick.
Here.
Marshall. Here. Mattis.
Here.
Senzo. Here. Blake.
Here. Presentations, Mr. Solomon.
Thank you, Mr. President. We actually have two presentations tonight. The first one is I would like to introduce two of our middle school teachers, Ms. Nikki Mostetter and Ms. Jenna Handra, to do a short GOLD presentation. GOLD stands for Girls Only Leadership Development. Ladies.
Thank you, Dr. Hudson. Thank you guys so much for letting us speak here tonight. We started GOLD last year. GOLD stands for, like Mr. Solomon had said, Girls Only Leadership Development. And our purpose is to empower young females to become advocates for themselves, their schools, and their community. We practice modeling behaviors and presenting opportunities for our students to lead. We want to foster a sense of leadership in them that they can apply in their personal, emotional, social, and academic lives to help learn and develop. Excuse me. So last year, we began this program around January. We had one huge kickoff party at the end of one school day. We had every girl from grades 6, 7, 8 all come down. We introduced the program. We had a dance party at the end of the day. And for it being just girls, it was probably one of the best days of my career, having every girl in this auditorium dancing and like having fun. You don't have to worry about what the boys are thinking or what the boys are doing. It was great. And we had a great turnout last year for the whole 2 meetings we were able to have before we shut down. But we did have, really great ideas. So our first meeting was on body positivity. And body positivity, we had a Love Your Selfie station where they had props and things to talk about loving who you are. We had speakers come in and talk about women's bodies through history and how much beauty has changed through history. We had another meeting on conflict resolution, which was about learning to work together to build each other up and not tear each other down as women. And we did stress relieving activities like yoga and self-defense, that's it. So we had these great ideas for future meetings, and then we shut down. We wanted to do things about, we'll talk about this year instead. So we'll get to this year.
We obviously had to adjust this year to accommodate, our COVID restrictions, but we do feel that at the beginning of the year, we really still wanted to get the girls involved. Not being in the building, we felt that having a strong group full of girls that supported one another was really important. So we did different campaigns to get them up and moving. We did a 20-20-20 challenge, which was to bike 20 miles, run 20 miles, walk 20 miles, in support of any type of cause. One of our biggest events was Namaste. It was a yoga and sip event where a bunch of girls, I gave them hot chocolate and they we had a girl, her name is Trish Matter. She is a published author and a mindfulness expert that hosted us and just taught us to breathe and love ourselves. We also are doing next week, due to weather this week and some quarantining, we're doing Earth Day cleanup. So we're going to do some stuff around the community, picking out trash. We have Earth Day pledges that we started doing bulletin boards. This year, we also started reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Once we came back, that wasn't being done. So we made sure that our girls took over the daily announcements so that everybody in our district could be informed of what's going on.
So future goals. So Hopefully next year we get to actually, we were really hindered this year, like everybody was with COVID, but we didn't get to have any big group meetings. We couldn't meet together. It's really hard to meet with the girls virtually. And the couple activities we did do, we did bingo, we did other virtual trivia, yes. So we can meet with them virtually, but to really do the leadership activities, as leaders, you know how leadership works. To really do those kind of team building leadership activities, you need to be together in a group. So we're hoping next year to have officers. We want to assign president and vice president and somebody to work on, leadership goals. We want our girls to join and help with everybody else's club. So the middle school has a poetry club. We want our girls to attend those meetings and help. We have a student council. We want our girls to be on student council and helping. Any role that needs to be filled in the middle school building, we want our girls in there. We want them doing the morning announcements. We want them being office helpers. Anything that needs to be done, we want to show that our bold girls are leaders in the building. So we're hoping to be able to meet at the end of this year some of those 6th and 7th grade girls to kind of push them into those leadership roles for next year. So when the next school year starts, we're just ready to go. We know who our leaders are. We know who we can count. Ideas for next year. Excuse me. We do want to have a fundraiser because these things are cheap. Ideas for next year that we couldn't do this year, but we did have plans for. So there's an event called Wands for Wildlife, where you collect mascara wands, and doesn't matter how dirty they are, they clean them up and they use them to clean baby animals that are in the oil spills. So really cute, really great idea. We wanted to collect Crayola markers and crayons and things. There are all these great fundraisers, all these great service projects that we weren't even able to collect. We wanted to do Valentine's and Christmas cards for the elderly this year, but we couldn't collect them because we couldn't send them to the nursing homes. But these are all on the table for next year. So we do have big plans. It's just, getting them there. Oh, and we want to have a book drive. That's the last thing we had. Collect books, distribute books to the community. We wanted to have a drop everything and read day also this year, but again, didn't get that far. But we have great ideas, and hopefully we get to keep going with them.
Anybody in the audience too, we do have infographics back there, so if you have any girls in grades 6, 7, and 8 that are interested in our program or taking the leadership role in middle school, please grab one of our infographics there. It has our email addresses on it, our Schoology group that your children can join. They can just request and we will add them, as well as our Instagram. Even as community members, we strongly encourage you to get on our Instagram, follow our page, and stay up to date with what Gold is doing in the program.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our second presentation of the evening is by our school board representatives.
Good evening, everyone. There's a couple of things I want to discuss, and then we have a couple of questions for the end. To begin, the Soaks and Starlets had their first meeting for the 2021-2022 band season. They just started that. We also have the Paid Forward Scholarship, which was created by West Mifflin alumni to help seniors. They just had their 80 Ends pretzel truck fundraiser, and they appreciated everyone that came out to support that. So thank you all. We also had the senior calendar released. They have important dates on there: NHS recognition, band chorus and orchestra concert dates, everything like that. That's on Schoology accounts, so if any parents need to log in and see that, you can go up and see that. And then we also had the environmental club. They are looking for students and staff to submit photos of wildlife, flowers, trees, anything nature related. Winners are going to be announced next week. Today is the last day to do it though, so kind of just using this as, that's tomorrow, my bad, is to do it and go and take some photos. That's about it. And then a couple of questions for you guys.
I just had a couple questions about graduation. What are your early thoughts and plans regarding the setup of graduation? And when are you guys going to inform parents and students of that information?
Graduation will be planned at the high school level. That's Mr. Lipp's ceremony, the high school principal ceremony. And he'll decide how he's going to run that, coordinate that, and then we'll go from there. So he actually will be working out the details.
Okay. And then do you guys have any questions on what we discussed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, that concludes tonight's presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. 3 agenda items.
Yes, Mr. President, we have 3 addendums for tonight's agenda. Under B, Finance, it'll be number 4. It is recommended the board authorize the business manager to obtain a taxable line of credit from First National Bank not to exceed $5,000. Under 7, District Operations, letter G, it is recommended the board approve the realignment of the business office as presented. And H, it is recommended the board approve the access coordinator proposal for the 21-22 school year. Second.
Second by Mr. Marshall. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Esper, would you mind explaining to the audience what the TAN actually is? This is really almost every year, but just so everyone has an understanding.
Sure, Mr. Vicenzo. Our tax revenue starts coming in August, and there's times out of abundance of caution, it will borrow money to bridge that gap from the time the year ends till the new tax revenue starts coming in. This is a line of credit. We're paying interest on that $3 million, whether we need it or not. We'll pay some interest, and if we don't need it, it's there. And we're doing this out of an abundance of caution with the retirements that we have coming up and the retirement incentives. Sick days that will be paid out in July, just to make sure that we can bridge that gap until tax revenue starts coming.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Ahern,
Yes.
Alexandra,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Engler,
Yes.
Stelnick,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Mattis,
Yes.
Vicenzo.
Yes.
And Blazek.
Yes. Mr. Stoll, those items are added to the agenda. Number 4, hearing of the citizens, public comment. In order to speak at this time, the following must be met. Must be a West Mifflin, Whitaker, or European resident. Matter must have been discussed through the proper education channel. Direct comments to the board president or superintendent. Remarks will be limited to 3 minutes per person. I also, if you have questions coming from the agenda, as we walk through the agenda, as we work through the agenda the rest of the evening, we will try to attempt to answer those questions that come out of public comment. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate you all adhering to the 3-minute time limit so we can move everything along. Mark Uhas?
Mark Uhas, 1016 Dana Drive. I come this evening up here basically because the past week or so, been a lot of talk about some coaches, parents come up to the school board, emailing the school board about kids playing time, and so now some of these coaches are being attacked. And basically, I'm coming to the board because, number one, there shouldn't be a platform for these folks to kind of really have the school board involved in kids playing time. But just so happened, one of the parents that I guess complained and asked for a meeting with you, I happened to be at the field that day, and I happened to be right not far from it, from afar. First thing out of the parent's mouth when the coach came out of the door was, "Why did my kid play? Why did my kid start?" And see, the reason why I come up here today, because that's not me, but what happened is this. I've coached 22 years in high school athletics. Also, I worked 30-something years in the corporate world. And out of those 30 years, I also had 11 years as my own business, part of my own business. And what I want to say today is this. All the years from my experience in coaching, from my experience in the workforce, to what I see today with a lot of the youth, when you allow these things as a school board, or allow these things to take place, you're becoming an enabler. What you're doing is you're really hurting these kids' development. And what I mean by development is this. In the corporate world, in the real world, these kids today, the mom and dad have come up and have done nothing but, if a kid don't play or if a kid doesn't get his way, they come up and they complain to the coach, they complain to the school board, if they get enough people behind them, then they get somebody fired. But see, what you create is this, you're not teaching the kids facts of life, all right? What athletics kind of does for you, it teaches them discipline, teaches structure, okay? Teaches fight to adversity. But what you develop in kids, when parents come up here and they want to have this as a platform, they want to go to a coach and go to a school board member, or go to a principal, or go to the superintendent about their kids' playing time, what you're creating, parents, or what you're creating when you do that, is you're creating your kid to be called a lateral mover in life. When they don't get that promotion, or they don't get that raise, what they do is they quit and they go on to another company. And their excuse is, my boss didn't like me. They spend a couple years there, don't get their way, they quit, same position. Instead of going up to that coach, or going up to that manager or director of your department and saying, what do I need to do to get better? Or what do I need to do so I can get that promotion next time, or I can get that raise next time? It's about, well, you work 9 to 5, don't come at 9 and leave at 4:57. Maybe come an hour early, stay a little late, have some dishes, do some things. By a parent not having their kid go to a coach and ask the coach, what can I do to get better? What do I got to do
Thank you, Mr. Uhas.
to finish it? Instead of a kid asking that, the parents do it, so the kids don't know how. So that's all about the development that you hurt. You hurt them in the real world. You hurt them in
Thank you,
the
Mr.
real world.
Uhas. Ms. Diane Smith, Stanesset.
Diane Stanesek, 2803 Glen Lane Extension. With the addendums, I hope there's a breakdown of some sort as to what you are planning for realignment of the business office. Not just a yes vote or a no vote. On page 4, under reports, item 1, there's delinquent realty tax, and it has Bernstein, Berkeley. It's $677,874.20. If you can explain that. Complaints in civil action, $361,908.01. If there's an explanation for that. Also, just give an explanation for better understanding on page 6, District Operation 7D. On page 8, under retirements, what is the incentive that these employees are getting for early retirement? Since the incentive is obviously paid out of taxpayer money, we should really know what the incentive package is that they're getting. Same with under retirement C on page 9, the incentive for the employees retiring, the non-professional employees. The other question I have is, let's see, I know at the last meeting, they said that it was reported that if there wasn't a certain amount of students for pre-K, there would be a difference in money to run this program. And I was told by a pretty reliable source that our pre-K grant money was suspended for 2 years because funds were not spent appropriately under the guidelines of pre-K. That's an easy true or false. And if so, these federal money, these guidelines have to be followed to the T for all of these grants. And what I worry about is if there was purchasing of items under one grant that shouldn't have been, then are your other grants at risk? Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Link?
Eric Link, 123 Skyport Road. I'm here today to show support for our baseball coaches. I tried to stay out of this drama as long as I could. Until March 27th of this year, a parent called the school board, a member of the school board, and made a false accusation about my son. I know who that parent is, and I know exactly what they said. On February 2nd of this year, I received an email from another parent that was trying to recruit me to write a letter to the school board mentioning that my son was being bullied by the coaches. I've also read a lot of stuff on social media. A lot of the words that have been being used on social media relate to bullying, players being afraid of the coaches, and coaches being too tough. My son has been around coaches that are more critical of his performance than these two coaches on the staff since the age of 8 years old. One of them is myself. My father was in the United States Marine Corps and in the United States Army. I raised my kids to be disciplined and respect authority. And my son hasn't heard anything worse on car rides and tournaments than what any of these coaches are telling him. There's also been complaints on social media about the schedule hasn't been available to parents. The schedule is available on the district website, along with on our Game Changer site. A parent complained about the coaches directly texting players, which I don't know how you could possibly organize practices in this day and age, calling 40 kids to let them know that there's practice. There's also been complaints and false accusations that we had a coach come to a practice that was exposed to COVID for our travel team in the summer season. It's a completely fabricated lie. We did have a coach that was exposed. We didn't see the man for 10 to 14 days. There's also been accusations about players coming to practice that should have been quarantined. These are the facts. There was never a practice originated on school district property. There was never a West Mifflin Titan baseball practice with these players. That practice was our summer travel team, which includes 6 players from other neighborhoods, including Baldwin and Thomas Jefferson. I'm going to read some stats and some complaints to you guys. Out of our top 7 players, there was 448 at-bats, 202 hits with a 450 batting average. The remaining team, 321 at-bats, 40 hits, a 124 batting average. The complaints: coach plays to win, coach runs too much, coach yells too much, coach is hard on my player, coach is hard on other certain players, coach micromanages the team, coach micromanages his players. Those complaints have nothing to do with Coach Kuzma. Those complaints were given to me, and I read all these in a parent meeting on May 30th, 2014. And the reason I'm putting this out to the board today is this isn't something that just came out of nowhere a few weeks ago or a few months ago. These parents have been complaining about baseball over playing time for the better part of a decade. And it's been going on at the Little League. That year in 2014, I decided to leave the Little League complex. Sorry, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Nick Griffin?
Nick Griffin, 219 Hazel Street. I'm here to basically follow up what Eric said. I'm here to stick up for our baseball coaches. They were given the job last year. Due to COVID, they didn't coach. We didn't have time. And then over the fall, there's been parents that have been trying to get them fired without even coaching a whole season. Over the past 2 years, my son's a freshman. And from working with these coaches, he's developed tremendously. They're hard coaches. And just like Eric, my son has had harder coaches. Just to say a name, my son used to play for Mike Costco. who, if you guys don't know, he's a tough coach. But a lot of these kids have played for him, and they're developing. One, because of him, but even now with Coach Kuzma, they're excelling. And there's going to be like years coming up where we're going to have a great program. There's kids coming up from 6th, 7th, 8th grade. These two coaches, our head coaches, they're the right fit for these people because they've all had played travel baseball. They've all been competitive, and they want to build a program, not just win a season. They want to build a program. As far as bowling and playing time goes, I go to all the practices and sit up in the parking lot, only because I have 4 more years to watch my son play. I'm watching him since he was 5. I want to see parents doing that. So I watch. And for parents, they're huge coaches bowling. I was bowling as a kid. This isn't bowling, this is hard coaching. They want to win. They expect their players to perform. And if you don't perform, you're going to sit the bench. Parents don't like that. That's what it comes down to. Don't listen to these parents bashing these coaches. Take it, ask the kids. You ask any of these kids here, they're not being bullied. Ask them. Do your due diligence and ask them. They're going to tell you the truth. Kids tell you the truth. They're not being bullied. Coaches are here to win. You guys hired them. They want to win. And they're going to win for years to come. So what it comes down to is don't drink the Kool-Aid. Just figure it out and ask questions. Ask the parents. Ask the kids. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Lee.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Meady. I live at 310 Dennison Drive, West Mifflin. I've been a resident in the district for 22 years. I'm here tonight to also show my support for our baseball coaching staff. My son has been playing baseball for the last 12 years, much of it with most of these same boys he's playing with today. During those years, we have all been exposed to different programs, whether it be travel ball or rec ball, as well as different coaches and different coach style. Today, these boys and us parents sit united in stating that these are some of the most passionate, caring, and supportive coaches these boys have ever had the fortune to play for. We are not a clique or a cult. We are diehard baseball fans that love watching these boys play together. Since they were 6 and 7, this is all we wanted for them. These coaches spend their time away from their own families to teach our boys not just about baseball, but about life, how to work together, how to respect each other, how to think on your feet. They spend their summers with our boys rather than their own to make them better people for free because they love what they do and they truly care for these young men. They are shaping their character, teaching them responsibility, as well as confidence in themselves. For this, I am forever indebted to. There is no better relationship to some than that of a player and their coach. They push you, they challenge you, they praise you, and I feel most importantly, they hold you accountable. Accountable for your actions, for your words, and even for your grades that aren't up to par. And that is most definitely the case with this whole entire coaching staff. If you do not believe that, there are 40 other players that, if asked, will reassure you of being true. Some boys have better relationships with their coaches than they do with their own parents. So, to address the accusations of bullying these men are being accused of, in my opinion, they are false. I've been involved with students in programs that involve students for almost 15 years, and I, like others, do not take bullying lightly. I know I do not sit on the bench in the dugout with them, so when I asked my son about it, he said no one is treated any different than any other, and I truly believe that. So as an involved parent, I ask, please do not let these false allegations ruin one of the best section runs that West Mifflin baseball has had in the last 10 years. Might I add, that was the last time these coaches were on this field, 16 winning season. And to set the record straight, they were never fired. Their coaching position was reopened. And it was not because of intimidation or harm or even coercion, which is what the meaning of bullying is. At that time, the superintendent and one of the school board members were butting heads about politics. This such school board member had a son on the coaching staff. So the superintendent's way to get back was to open up that position. You can connect the dots. Thank you for your time, and just remember, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is perspective, not the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Bridget Lang.
My husband Tim and I
Can you please state your address?
366 Lebanon School Road.
Thank you.
My husband Tim and I have lived in the school district for over 27 years. We have 3 children, 2 who have graduated from West Mifflin, and our youngest child, Ryan, is now in 11th grade. Ryan currently plays on the varsity baseball team, but all of our children have participated in many different team sports while in school here at West Mifflin. We've experienced all different coaching styles, from pretty lackluster to competitive. We would like to express our feelings with you regarding Mr. Kuzma and Mr. Simcho coaching our child. These men have spent countless hours on the baseball field with our son over these past 18 months or so. They're sharing their knowledge of a game our son loves to play. These men have formed a relationship with Ryan. They are teaching him and his teammates important life lessons in baseball. Some examples of these lessons are having a good work ethic, being accountable for your actions, and leadership. These are lessons that are sometimes difficult for young men to learn. These coaches are reinforcing some of the same values that we as Ryan's parents were trying to teach him at home. Most of these boys have played together since they were 7 years old, and we as parents couldn't wait to watch them grow up with each other and play on the high school baseball field together. Knowing how fast that time goes, and Ryan being our youngest child, we've made it a point to go to practice early or be there every game and watch him and his teammates together. We have at no time witnessed any coaches bullying or acting inappropriately to these boys, nor would we have stood for it if we did. We strongly support these men coaching our child, and we hope you stand behind them too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ryan Lang.
Ryan Lang, 366 Lebanon School Road. I'm a junior here at West Mifflin High School, and I wanted to come up today to talk about our baseball coaches, Coach Kuzma and Coach Simcho. We put countless hours into our team. We've practiced almost every day, and on days we don't have practice, they're either watching other teams we have to play later on, thinking of new drills and more things we need to improve on. They also teach us countless lessons that help us become better people on and off the field. They teach us responsibility, accountability, and respect in new ways almost every day. For example, Coach Kuzma checks our grades every week, and if they aren't acceptable to his standard, he would take his time out to make sure we are doing all of our work and getting our grades out. They also encourage us every day by telling us to get the next one if we make a mistake, or praising us when we do something good. I also have never witnessed any bullying of any sort going on. These coaches have had a great impact on this team, and I'm certain my teammates would agree with these lessons they teach us are appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Ann Mady.
Hi, my name is Mary Ann Mady. I live at 314 Dennison Drive. I've been a resident of West Mifflin for almost 52 years. Both of my children went to West Mifflin schools, and now my son's children are going to West Mifflin schools. His middle child is Devin, who plays on the baseball team. I've known Jeff Kuzma since my son Jeff and Jeff Kuzma went to kindergarten together. I've seen these boys grow up together, and I know what kind of character Jeff Kuzma is. I'm very proud of the way he teaches these boys, along with Tom. I attend as many games as I can, being a grandma, probably unfortunately the loudest cheerleader there. And I wanted to say that I've always seen Jeff Kuzma as a responsible young man and a gentleman now. I have never seen Jeff disrespect anyone, and he always works with the kids at baseball. In the summertime, he works with these boys in the areas around West Mifflin also without pay, because he loves the game and he loves these boys. He is such a good kid. I call him a kid. He's such a good man. I would be proud to call Jeff Kuzma my son. Anybody doesn't believe that these coaches that are teaching our kids aren't good, they're the problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Nady?
Hello, my name is Jeff Nady and I live at 310 Denison Drive. I would like to speak on behalf of the baseball coaches here at West Mifflin High School. My purpose here tonight is to set the record straight for West Mifflin community. Unfortunately, we have a couple of adults who are trying to do everything they can to smear the reputation of our coaches and make you believe there is bullying going on from the coaching staff. They are trying to recruit anyone they can to join their cause, and they will say anything and do anything to achieve their goal. In Wyatt, it's about playing time. They will deny it to the end, but ultimately, that's what this is about. I personally witnessed them confront the coaches about it, and it was not about bullying. Why would you ask for more playing time if your son was being bullied? Because it's not true. I have a son on the varsity team that plays for these men. He also plays with them for the summer and the fall. I have never once witnessed any of our coaches bully or mistreat any of the kids. These men have been nothing but a positive influence on my son's life. They care very much for all these kids and want to be successful in life as well as on the baseball field. They have high expectations and they are very demanding. They hold our kids accountable, and as a community, we should cherish them. These men have principles and they do not waver from them. Go sit and talk to Mr. Kuzma and Mr. Simcha for 15 minutes about baseball, and you will immediately know how passionate they are about this program and the kids. I also believe we have the best coaching staff in the WPIL, and that's not just my opinion. That is the shared belief in baseball circles. Please do not let these people ruin what we have here at West Mifflin. We have a good thing going on, and myself and many others do not want to see this program ruined by the selfish acts of others. If anybody on this stage would like to sit down and interview my son about these allegations, feel free to contact me. I do not sit here, I do not need to sit with him and guide him through that meeting because there is nothing to hide. It's the truth. There is no bullying going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Devin Nady?
Hello, my name is Devin Nady. I live at 310 Denison Drive, and I'm a junior on the West Mifflin baseball team. I am here to show my support and to talk about Coach Kuzma and Coach Simcha. Both coaches have huge effects to his team in many good ways on and off the field. For example, Coach Kuzma will check our grades and make sure we put our schoolwork first before baseball. Also, Coach Simcha has helped me get a job with wing construction in the summer. Both of them spend time away from their families to go scout other teams to help us win games and be more competitive. They also make sure we are physically healthy before we would practice or play a game. I've never seen or been bullied by these coaches, and they've been nothing but a positive influence to this team. Thank you.
Scott Walker.
Scott Walker, 127 Clubview Drive. First off, I want to state that I've heard about the allegations of bullying occurring with the high school baseball program. I want to be very clear on how seriously I take that accusation. No kid or adult should ever be bullied. I have every expectation and confidence that this coaching staff, the district administration, and this school board before me has taken this accusation equally as seriously as is and has conducted an investigation to get to the facts. That said, based on what I've seen and experienced in my over 5 years of my son playing for this coaching staff, I want to openly state my complete confidence and support of him, Coach Kuzma, and Coach Cincho, and his entire staff. Baseball-wise, I've seen my son grow exponentially in his skills, knowledge, and appreciation of the game. I've seen just about all of his teammates equally flourish in that regard. I attribute this due to the deep knowledge of the game and the skill he possesses as an educator. And he now has a team of about 14 to 15 varsity baseball players, all of whom have talent and all of whom can play. Of course, you know where that's leading. That leads to issues when there's only 9 spots on a baseball field. But that's a testament to the dedication and skill in getting his players to maximize his skills. I think you need to have a wealth of attributes to be able to meaningfully teach or coach a high school student. First, you need to be authoritative. He and his staff demand and expect our sons' respect, and they deserve it for the sacrifices and dedication they show to our sons throughout the year, not just during baseball season. Never have I seen coaches as tireless in the pursuit of building a program our community can be proud of, and the players recognize that. But authority only gets you so far. They also temper that by showing how much they care about each and every one of our kids. If it wasn't for the coach and player dynamic that exists, I would say that my son would consider Coach Kuzma a friend. One who takes him to practices, who stayed after, put in extra work to work with him. After an 8-hour day of teaching, 1 hour of field prep, 2 hours of practices in most cases, and he still devoted that extra time. Not just once, but continuously. And one who's been impactful in speaking to him about keeping up with his schoolwork, being a leader, and being aware of the influences that might not be good for him long term. And to show you it's not just about my son, I've also witnessed this coach donate his salary to an AA. Parents passed away because the kid didn't have the money to participate on the team because of that financial uncertainty. How many people would do that? Finally, our sons want to see fairness. Fairness in expectations, fairness in consequences. All the boys, based on performance, were told before the season what roles they had earned and what they needed to do to earn different roles. All were given equal opportunity. All were given equal instruction, and all were held accountable for their actions. This staff sets a standard for these boys, and they are expected to work hard, have a good attitude, and be accountable to student athletes. And with that, I'm just going to continue to say that I support this staff, and I hope you do too.
Thank you. Ethan Leskovitz.
Ethan Leskovitz with 2653 Glen Lane. I'd just like to say, as a recent graduate from West Mifflin that played sports, wrestling, football, you aren't given a starting spot. You got to earn that starting spot. My freshman year, I didn't play. I didn't wrestle. I was on JV. So, I don't know. I just think it's crazy. You can't go crying to the coach that your kid isn't playing when you didn't put in the time. Half those kids, juniors, seniors, they put in the time. They've been there 3-4 years. But whenever you walk up in here as a freshman, you think you're going to get playing time like that. It's not like that. You got to earn it. About Mr. Kuzma, I have him as a teacher. I never had him as a coach. I didn't play baseball. As a teacher, he's an amazing man. He always helped me when I needed help. That's it. That's it.
Thank you. Kowalski.
207 Grand Avenue Extension. I've coached for probably 15 years in the borough, outside of the borough. I know what it's like to have to deal with the circus that goes on with it. I was once told at a softball draft for 6-year-old kids that so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so would play for me. From that point on, as I went to drafts, I didn't draft the kids, I drafted the parents, because I didn't want anything to do with the people that were gonna, rock the boat per se. My son works hard, he earns everything that he gets. I have 100% faith in his coaching staff. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 5, information items, there are none. Board Secretary.
Thank you. On the following items, item 6A, numbers 1 through numbers 1, on pages 1 and 2. This is the first reading of the policies A through Z and double A through double Z. For the sake of time, I'm not going to read all of them to discuss them.
So this is for 6A1.
Yes, it's 6A1.
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Ahern, second by Mr. Bennett. Questions or comments?
Mr. President, was item ZZ Booster and Island 9, was that updated, do not require the president to be a parent of a current board student?
Yes.
Thank you.
I forget what it states exactly. Do you know what it states exactly? I think it says outstanding member of the community, something along those lines.
Yeah, you don't have to be a parent to be a booster member, you just have to be a community member of good standing and good clearances. Sounds good?
Any other questions? Roll call.
Ahern.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Engler.
Yes.
Stelnick.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
Senzo.
Yes.
Blaze.
Yes.
Item 6B, finance, numbers 1 through 4 on page 2. These were all added since the work session. Number 1 is to transfer $24,440 from the GSA construction fund to the capital project fund. That is to pay for the complete resurfacing of the auxiliary gym at the high school. That motion will be later on in the agenda. Number 2 is to ratify the transfer of $5,000 from the general fund to the athletic fund. The athletic fund is the fund that we pay all our referees out of. Number 3 is to authorize the business manager to sign a settler at the station acknowledging the completed transition from Peace Lab to PMA. Peace Lab is the Pennsylvania School Liquid Acid Fund. And PMA, so Peace Lab is the investment advisor prior, and PMA is the financial administrator. So they were sister companies, they merged. So PMA is now the authorized, is the investment advisor as well as the financial administrator. And yeah, it's the Pennsylvania School District Liquid Asset Fund. This merger has already taken place. This would just give us additional financial instruments. We don't have to sign it, but we would limit our ability to invest with them. And that's where we currently have the GASA construction fund and construction fund monies. I don't anticipate investing any money with them anytime soon, but this does give us options in the future to do so. And number D was the tactical line of credit, which was discussed already.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Senda. Second. Second by Mr. Marshall. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Question on the motion, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you, Bill.
Mr. Upper, I'm trying to wrap my head around the $5 million line of credit. Is there any advantage to applying for it now than waiting to see if we need it and then apply for it? I mean, I know everybody said that it's in case we need it.
This is a, this will probably take about 60 days to get approved. This took so long the last time that it turned out we didn't need it, so they said it was approved, and I said we didn't need it, and that's how long it takes to go through the process.
No, that answers my question.
Yeah, and if by the time it gets approved, I can turn it out in the process.
Gotcha, thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Ahern.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Engler.
Yes.
Pistonik.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
Senzo.
Yes.
Blazevich.
Yes.
Item 6C, purchasing and contracting, numbers 1 through 12 on page 3.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Marshall.
Second.
Second by Mr. Alexandrov. Any questions or comments?
Mr. President, numbers 10, 11, and 12, I don't think we discussed last week. Number 10 is to have a complete appraisal, fixed asset, accounting control, and insurance valuation at a cost of $12,265. We did have 2 quotes on this. This is professional services. This was the lowest quote. This was a company that we have used in the past. With all the millions of dollars of renovations that we've had done over the last couple of years, Paul Fisher and myself have spoken. We thought this was prudent to do at this time. This is something most organizations of our size do every 4 to 5 years. This will come with asset tagging of every, pretty much every fixture in the district, and will allow us to maintain controls over that. There may be an additional cost for the asset tags, which I could buy through them or through someone else. I didn't put that in the motion because those costs would be something we have to incur over the street that went on. But the cost of the appraisal is another $12,265. The Edge-Fire Solutions, this is e-hall pass. Instead of having paper hall passes for the students in the middle school and the high school, it's all done electronically now. And the architectural and engineering services is for the wall and home bill. We did have an engineer who did a report. We now want to take that information and have our architects do an RFP with all the correct information, and they will oversee the project. And that's not to exceed cost of $16,450.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mayor.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yep.
Engler.
Yes.
Pistonik.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
Senzo.
Yes.
And Blazevich.
Yes.
Item 16 minutes, numbers 1 on page 4.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Costello.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Ahern. Questions or comments?
Would somebody be willing, I know this is domestic, asking about 2 of these, would somebody be able to? I'm sorry, 1 minute, I apologize.
Okay. Roll call.
Ahern.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Engler.
Yes.
Pistonik.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
Senzo.
Yes.
And Blazevich.
Yes.
Item 6E, reports, numbers 1 through 5 on page 4.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. DeCenzo, second. Second by Mr. Mattis. Questions?
If I can address what Ms. Vanessa's question was, that Bernstein and Berkeley is the law firm that represented the mall properties. So that was a payment of some back taxes that they owed for several years on that property. So that's why that was such a large payment through their bankruptcy. We received that payment. As far as the civil action down there, that is handled through another law firm, and one I can't speak on litigation that I don't even know. I can certainly look and see what it is. I think some of that money, a large chunk of that money, is correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Esther, dealt also with bankruptcy of the mall parcel.
I have the exact breakdown, but the civil actions or sheriff's sales or foreclosures on properties for people that have paid back. So that number was traditionally a rather large number from time to time. And not that it's part of this, I think she had a question of the pre-K grant.
Yes.
Being suspended. That is completely false. I wasn't even going to address it because it's so ridiculous, but that's just not true at all.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Ahern.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett. Engler.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
Sento.
Yes.
Blaze.
Yes.
Item 6.7, request subtracted from expenditures, number 1 on page 5.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Costello,
Second.
second by Mr. Bennett. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Ahern.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Engler.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Blaze.
Yes.
Item 6G, invoices numbers 1 through 5 on pages 5 and 6. Since the work session last week, we have 6 invoices from our solicitors, and we have Barbara Hoffman was the professional service to investigate the middle school building ship. And number 3, the APM Solutions, I have to make a note, that number did change. That number should read $84,302.89. It's $84,302.89. We will be holding some retainage for some punch list items. Once those are completed, phase 4 will be paid in full and wrapped up. And 5, bills payable includes the refunds.
Do I have a motion? Motion. Motion by Mr. Mattis,
Second.
second by Mr. DeSenzo. Any questions?
Question, D and J. Are those 2 items, will they possibly be able to be recouped through this whole process?
I don't know that at this point. I certainly will attempt to do that, but I cannot guarantee the final.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Ahern.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Yes.
Bennett. Engler.
Yes, except for 1E and 3A.
Costello.
Yes to everything except no to 3A.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
Senza.
Yes.
Blaze.
Yes.
Mr. President, everything passed on the 9-0 vote, with the exception of 1E, which passed on an 8-1 vote, and 3A, which passed on a 7-2 vote. Item 6H, requisitions other numbers 1 through 2 on page 6. We did have 3 executive sessions last month, which were properly noted.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Costello,
Second.
second by Mrs. Ahern. Questions? Roll call.
Ahern.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Engler.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
DeSenzo.
Yes.
And Blaze.
Yes.
Mr. President, that so concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Esper. 7, district operations.
Mr. President, we have items A through H. Recommend the board approve our summer work schedule. Special Education Parent Advisory Committee. Extended school year for the 2021 summer. COVID compensatory services, which is federally funded. Also approve the district summer school program through the Titan Cyber Academy. Recommend the board approve the post para-educators for positions for the tutoring program for the 2021 school year as well. G&H would also ask for the realignment of the business office due to retirements. And it's recommended the board approve the access coordinator proposal for the 21-22 school year.
Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Mr. Marshall, second by Mr. DeCenzo. Questions or comments?
Do we have a description of what the business office realignment is?
That's a personnel issue.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna get into that here now
I know you missed that,
before
Mr. Marshall.
they know.
I can show you. really quick.
Okay.
Mr. Schultz, can you explain the COVID compensatory services from the state?
The compensatory services is for the special ed students who might have fell behind, and that's through the federal funding that we're able to provide the tutoring program. Not only we're doing it right now, but we're also going to extend it through the summer as well.
I believe a lot of school districts are doing that, Mr. Schultz, is that correct?
That's correct.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call?
Mayor,
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Engler.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
DeCenzo.
Yes.
Blaze.
Yes.
Number 8, A, B, get down to C, buildings and grounds. We have one facility use, that's for girls basketball conditioning.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bennett,
Second.
second by Mrs. Ahern. Questions or comments? Roll call?
Ahern.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Engler.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
DeCenzo.
Yes.
Blaze.
Yes.
Number 9, professional personnel, under A, we have a leave of absence, we're asking the board to approve. Now, under C, we have retirements, this is our early retirement incentives for the professional staff members. A total of, I believe, 35 over the next 4 years. And B, the hiring, recommend the board approve ratify the following tutors, and this is for our after-school tutoring as well as hopefully our summer as well. And nothing under other.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Engler.
Second.
Second by Mr. Marshall. Questions or comments?
I'd like to thank the 13 teachers that were down this year. For the 11 years for my kids and for the black kids. And best wishes to them in retirement day.
Krisha, are we allowed to disclose any of the early retirement?
Yes, I can disclose the early retirement incentive.
Yeah, if those teachers retiring, will receive, $20,000 a year for 5 years payable to the 403B account. And that's the.
And that's all that is, they do not take our health insurance.
Yes, there's no health insurance, this is health insurance, and if they don't do it, then it's just,
I believe they had to have a minimum years of service in the district of 16 years.
yes, and if we add in the cost of it.
And what's the overall net savings after the contributions?
We don't know the exact number until we have the staffing plan for next year, which we should have a pretty good idea on Monday, but it's at least $1 million.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Ahern.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Engler.
Yes.
Costello.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
DeCenzo.
Yes.
Blaze.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Esther, I have to abstain to D1. I apologize. Yes to everything, abstain to D1.
Okay, Mr. President, everything passed.
Yes. I'll say that. Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Mr. President, everything passed on a 9-0 vote with the exception of C1, which passed on a 8-0 vote with one exception.
It's D1.
D1.
Number 10, non-certified personnel. Letter A, 1 through 8 are unpaid leave requests by employees. Under B, we have no resignations. Under C, we have a retirement of 11 non-professionals for the 2021 school year. And under D, we're doing hiring and transfers. Mr. Duns will be transferring from Clara Barton to the high school, middle school campus. And Doreen 6 will be the head custodian at Clara Barton. Nothing under other.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Costoner,
Second.
second by Mrs. Ahern. Questions or comments?
The retirement incentive for the SEIU employees is $8,000 a year for 4 years. Into a 4 year.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Ahern.
Yes.
Alexandra.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yep.
Engler.
Yes.
Skelly.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Mattis.
Yes.
Sento.
Yes.
Lacy.
Yes.
Mr. President, I have nothing else under my section.
Thank you, Mr. Souls. Board President's correspondence. There was none. I do want to address the folks who did participate in the public comment regarding the baseball coaching situation, and just, extend my thank you for coming to the meeting and expressing and communicating so clearly to us your concerns, and to the students who took, the time out and courage to come up here and stick your neck out and speak your mind to the board. We really do appreciate that. So it has been heard. We've heard you, and we acknowledge you, and we do appreciate you taking your time to come up here today to talk with us and to communicate to us your thoughts and feelings on the baseball coaches. Do appreciate that.
Mr. President, while we're on that subject, I should have done it earlier, but I just would like to take this opportunity to voice my support for Coach Kuzma and his staff. And as a former player of his, I couldn't help but echo everything that these ladies, gentlemen, and kids came up here and said tonight. And I don't think we could have a better group of men leading our kids in this baseball program. So just wanted to take that opportunity to say that.
Sure, Bill.
So, Mr. Walker, I think you said it perfectly when you talk about bullying. And there's certain words that people use that you have to do something about. And everybody on this stage is concerned about bullying. Whether the outcome comes out in your favor or not, any allegation of bullying is going to be looked at by everybody on this stage. And I just don't want to care about kids, and we're not looking into allegations, but we had an investigation, we had a job to do, and we're not allowed to comment on personnel, but your coach is sitting here, and I want to tell you something. So, thank you for coming, and just wanted you to know that, when somebody brings up an allegation of bullying or anything like that, we have to look into it. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Bill.
I'd like to say something too. This was taken very seriously and there were no issues, and I know Mr. Walker, Louis, and Leskowitz, if they see any issues, they would, the coaches, especially Coach Oles, I hope AJ comes and works on pitching and helps the kids out sometimes, because they're looking pretty good. I think you guys are playing well hard in that, so. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. All right, executive session discussion.
We did have an executive session discussion at the end, after last week's workshop meeting, and we did have an executive session prior to tonight's meeting. Both were to discuss litigation matters and personnel matters, some of which were on the agenda tonight.
Thank you, Krisha. Board reports, committee reports were given last week unless there are any updates from any committees.
We would like to congratulate Justin Martin for taking second place in welding at the Skills USA competition. And a congratulations to Brianna Gaines for competing. The top of the shop winners, as you might have heard these names before, but they are worth repeating, is Queen Cosley for baking and pastry art, Gina Rybacky for carpentry, Shanjaya Coleman for health assistant, William Bursick for welding. Our extra effort award winners for the third marking period are Brielle Gaines for baking, Mason Hagan for carpentry, and we'd like to thank Dean Honda and Bowser Hyundai for giving our student Damian Calvert and Dalton Kennedy a co-op experience. And thank you to them for them to experience. I'm tongue-tied now. Still Center wrapped up their first annual CTE virtual job fair on April 14th. 80 employees signed up for that. Still Center Senior Rec will be at Baldwin Stadium Wednesday, June 2nd. Rain date is Thursday, June 3rd. Mon Valley graduation will be in person June 3rd on the school field. And that so ends my report, if I can get untongue-tied.
Thank you, Mrs. Costello.
Debbie, may I ask you a question? Debbie?
I'm sorry? The police vehicle, everybody notice our new police vehicle out in the front? Everybody see it? The kids from Still Center wrapped that for us. So, thank you, Diane.
Nice job, they did.
Debbie, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Have they been doing any discussion on their buildings, long-term plans?
That's coming up. We're having a study. I think I reported 2 months ago about another study. We're responsible for those buildings as taxpayers, so.
Okay, thank you.
Solicitors report?
Thank you. My report was given in an executive session unless anyone has something non-personal or litigation for me.
Don't think so. Old business. New business. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. DeSenza.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Ahern. Meeting adjourned.